Richard Donatelli.
And wait.
Dago, for nickname in the camp.
Oh.
They all called me Dago. D-A-G-O.
Dago in the camp. Okay.
There it is. See it? On my card?
I see that. I see it. Okay.
That's
and,
the name that these guys give me because I was Italian now.
Oh. And where were you born?
Chicago, Cook County,
Illinois, right?
Right.
And your date of birth?
10/11/1930.
And you are how old?
I'm going on 84.
84. And you tell me your wife is already deceased.
What?
Your wife is deceased.
Yeah, she died.
About 10 years ago?
10 years ago. March was 10 years.
Okay. And I see you have some children. Richard, about 48.
Right.
Dawn, about 45. Dina, about 38. And Robert, about 38.
38, 39, right.
Right. And you have some grandkids. And they're teenage grandchildren. And a few step grandkids.
Yeah, those are on Richie's side.
Richie's side. Richard Donatelli Jr.
Well, we didn't give him. We didn't tag Junior on him though.
No.
No.
Okay.
It's just my name.
Okay.
He got a Richard Michael. His name is Richard Michael.
Okay.
We didn't tag Junior on him.
And what was your educational background?
2 years high school.
Okay. Any education beyond high school?
Not really.
Okay. Any technical schools or trade schools?
Well, I went to Crane Tech.
Crane Tech? And what's that?
Crane Tech now high school.
And what'd you learn there?
Nothing. Nothing to talk about.
Okay.
I was a kid that didn't like school at all.
All right. So you were there for a trade of some kind, right?
Huh?
Were you there for any kind of trade?
Not really.
No. Okay.
Education, trying to get educated. That's about it.
Okay. You have any occupations prior to the military?
Just general worker, construction, and I worked for International Harvester for 30 years, 28 years, as a packer, P-A-C-K-E-R.
But this is after you got out of the war, right? International Harvester was after the war?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you after the war you worked for International Harvester?
Yeah, for 28 years.
Wow. 28 years or 38? 28 years?
28 years.
Wow. And your job was?
Packer.
Packer. So you package
Pack
things
parts
up?
for customers.
Okay.
Construction equipment.
Okay. Were you drafted or did you enlist?
I enlist.
What branch?
Army.
Army. And when did you do that?
July 1949.
The Korean Army, Korean War Army service.
Yeah,
what dates were they?
Yeah.
August 1953?
We arrived in Korea in August of 1953.
Okay, and
The war was already going on.
and how long did you stay in the
Korea?
Army?
Actually 4.5 years.
So that's August 1953.
49, I got out in August 1953.
What were your duties?
I went there as a radio operator.
Radio operator. What kind of radios did they have at that time?
What?
What kind of radios did they have at that time?
Oh, I don't know what kind of radio. Switchboard.
Switchboard?
Like switchboard.
So, okay. Did you work out of a tent, or did you work out of a building, or a truck?
Well, foxhole, or no tent. More or less a foxhole at the beginning.
How big was this radio?
I'd say 24 by 24. That's a good size as any.
And pretty thick?
Yeah, about so big.
And 24 by 24 by about 24? Or 12? Something like that?
Yeah, about, yeah.
And
I'd give it 24 by 24.
ran on the car battery, or had its own batteries, or what?
No, it was connected to something, I don't recall.
Okay.
because it was dark.
Okay.
I don't recall what it was connected to. Probably, I'm going to say batteries, but
Okay.
I don't know if they used batteries at that time or not.
So
We were overseas,
so it probably had batteries inside it or something.
could have been, yeah.
And what did you do with this switchboard?
Well, at this point, we were just starting to push north, and the Koreans were fighting on the North Koreans were fighting on the outskirts of Busan when we landed. You could hear the bombing and see the bombing flashing, and Busan was maybe a mile long, as far as I could tell. It was dark when we landed, and went from that point on. And kept pushing north.
What you had, like a unit or an infantry?
I was with the 38th Field Artillery, 2nd Division.
How many men is in that? How many men?
Well, we had my own company was all there at that time.
38th
when we
Field
landed.
Artillery,
We haven't
2nd
lost
Division.
anybody then.
38th Field Artillery, 2nd Division. How many men is that? And
Let's see. I don't know. How many men were in the company? In the platoon, it was, I think, 40 or 50 guys in a platoon.
okay, and
And I guess we were scattered out through Busan, pushing north.
so was it like a few hundred, 1,000 in this?
I'd say maybe 100, a couple hundred of us guys
200?
going.
Okay, so
That's a good guess as any.
so you were in a company. What company?
38th Field Artillery.
Okay, 30th Field Artillery Company.
Well, that was the company, 38th Field.
Okay.
That's what we call our
Oh,
company.
okay. 2nd Division. Okay, and you operated the radio and sent information.
Radio operator.
You sent information and got information for the
Right.
for the
Talked to
Artillery.
officer from the lines back to command post, and I had to connect them to the officers or somebody in front.
So you talked to command and other officers, right? So your participation, as soon as you got there, was to work with the artillery department,
Yeah,
and
right.
so you
105 howitzers.
105 howitzers. Did they this
Went along
artillery?
with the company.
This artillery, the 105s are pretty big. They had to pull them with trucks, right?
Yeah,
And you were right behind them,
right on. Mhm.
and you were getting information for them to do what?
Send it to somebody in front.
Okay,
It was going through me, to another operator up front. What was going on after that, whatever.
so you gave information to the artillery operators,
Right.
and they
And
aimed the
gave it-
guns.
They pushed it on to somebody else.
Okay. So when you got the information, you would tell the guys that are running these howitzers.
Yeah, people are running and they're running. They want to. They get. I think they give coordinates as to where we're at, and then they push it on to the guys who were shooting the guns.
Okay. So you got information and then told the operators of the guns.
Right. And they went from that. I went to their point as to where to shoot. I guess where to shoot the artillery.
So
And so we were shooting them. I guess when we got caught and when we got attacked, they were shooting right on the outskirts.
what are some of the coordinate kind of things you would say? Like, do you remember any
shit,
numbers at all?
I really can't remember
Okay.
any of them.
Okay. Were you hurt or wounded?
No, close.
No, but
Machine
close.
gun fire. Maybe 3-4 feet in front of me.
Whoa.
You could hear it in the dirt. In the dirt in front of me.
So you had a close call.
I felt all the dirt hitting me.
Uh-huh.
So I could have got it.
So that's how close.
That's
to,
when they were. That's how close they were.
What town or village or? Is it-
We were running. That's when they hit us.
so
And
you were going north out of Busan.
Oh yeah.
And-
Well, we were pushing all along out
Okay.
of Busan. Well, we hit it. We stopped, and if I can remember, we stopped at a hill 405. They called it the hill.
So you're pushing
And
in.
we were shooting at that. We were shooting at that baby for over a week. They were held up there. We shot a lot of shells over there on that mountain. I guess that's where the.
How many days of shelling did they?
Oh hell, we've done over almost 2 weeks. Week or 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Shelling.
Okay.
Then they start pushing again.
Were they shooting back with artillery?
They didn't come as close because our lines were supposedly 8 miles behind the front line.
Okay.
But we were using 8-mile charges
Wow.
off the 105s.
I didn't know they could shoot that far.
Oh, that's what the Army called them. They put charges like about so big in each shell, and those shells were loaded with each shell or each bag of dynamite or whatever powder equaled a mile or whatever, and we were using eight bags in these shells. I think there was about 8 bags anyway.
8-bag Chargers, huh?
Now I'm using that figure because
Yeah.
when you go slower, you take a couple of the shell that bags out and put them back in.
Okay.
But they were 8-mile. We were using 8-mile shells
Wow.
on that hill. That's how far we were supposed to be behind the lines for field artillery, and the infantry is up front of them.
So you were getting information saying.
Right.
And
They
then
hit
you would
Hill
relay the
405.
information to the guys at the gun, say go further,
guns,
go
right.
closer.
Right.
Wow.
And
Well, that's 8 miles is a long way. Wow.
so the bad part of it is when the Chinese hit us, we were shooting 8-mile charges less than a mile, half a mile. That's how close the Chinese were.
They were a mile away.
The lines, they were less than that.
Wow.
When the infantry started passing us, it was time to run.
So when the infantry went by you,
Right. I was talking to an infantry guy. He said, what's happening? I asked him what happened. We were running. He said, well, the Chinese are coming. And so I joined them. Started running with them.
the Chinese came all the way down to Busan and the North Koreans.
Well, I don't know. No, they weren't
North
that
Koreans.
far. No.
No.
But this was when we were up further.
Oh, you
Hill
went up.
405 was closer to 38,
Oh.
I guess. I'm using that to figure.
So Hill 405 was close to the 38th parallel.
Something like that. I'm pretty sure it were.
Okay. So,
And then when we were shelling 8-mile shells, maybe 300 feet, you can see Chinese.
so you were using the big charges real close.
Right. We were on the road when they hit us.
So then you were
We had the
using-
guns pointed downward, like they're hidden in the ditches,
right.
because we had no view as to how far they were.
So you're using 8-mile
So
charges.
we didn't have time to do them.
So
we
you
were shooting right off the highway, off the road.
So you're using 8-mile charges for like a 2-mile distance.
Right. We had in this hole there, and within an hour, I guess everybody started giving up. The guys that was running all night, and there was about maybe 100 of us or something like that that give us, that was left, all scattered. Though. Guys were from different outfits, and we're in that station, and they give us up. And then after that, we started I guess that night they got rid of I think all the wounded guys, they turned loose at
What do you
that
mean?
time.
What do you mean turned loose?
I think they turned them loose at that time. The guys that were wounded already, they couldn't make the march, and
They left.
and they
them
got the rest of those guys. They left them guys there,
there? Left the wounded there.
and yeah, the wounded guys. And where they went after that, we don't know. So they lined us up and searched us and took what we had. So I had my carbine. I destroyed it. I knocked it against a tree or something, and threw away all my ammunition that I had. I was ready for blood. I had all new stuff. I had new ammunition, the whole bit. And then that was that. And then that's when the Chinese started taking over, and had all of us with bayonets on our asses, and to keep us going.
So they,
Started the march north. And I believe we were in Cunaria, I think we were captured just outside of Pyongyang. And we started marching north.
beyond Kuduri.
Up and down mountain at night. And it was, 35, 40 below. And they kept us in. Then one night we stopped in caves. We thought everything was black. We thought they were going to shoot us. Because we couldn't see nothing at night.
So they put you in caves?
We thought we were going to get shot. Going to hold.
Of course, they were going to put you in the cave. They put you in the caves, right?
So what we did is they got us into caves, and that's where we stood for a few days, in caves.
For a few days.
Yeah. How long we were there, I'm not sure. We remembered. Then they kept taking us north.
At night?
At night. We traveled at night. In 30, 35, 40 below at that time. It was cold. And a couple of times I almost wanted to give up. Then I kept going. And that's where we lost a lot of guys in the Death March.
Death March.
And the guys that died might have died and left them on the roads.
What'd they die of?
Nutrition, maybe, and no food, no water. Then when we finally got some water at the caves, they give us a couple buckets of water. They took the water out of a creek.
Uh-huh.
Going down there, yeah? And they brought a couple buckets of water. Guys were fighting for a drink of water and all that stuff at the end of the cave. And we were there. That's where I think we picked up all our lice. We were all loaded with lice. First few weeks of being captured, we were eating strictly cracked corn. That was our diet. And then when the holiday hit, Christmas, we were, I think, at the mining camp. That's where we lost a lot of guys there, at the mining camp.
What kind of mining camp was it?
It might have been a coal mine, I'm guessing.
You were at the mining camp before Christmas and
just
got
there
to Christmas?
We were there until, I think, after New Year's. We were there for about a couple of weeks. Actually, Christmas Day they gave us corn. They gave us rice. The people I was with, we had cracked corn all that visit for that time. But then when the Christmas came around, they give us rice. So we all managed to get a bowl of rice for a Christmas holiday of 1950. And from that day forward, our diet was still cracked corn and barley, but we started getting barley for a change of diet. So between that and barley, that was our biggest menu until it goes into March, April, when we got to different camps. Then we used to eat barley. My biggest diet was barley, eating a lot of barley. They fed us barley every day, pre-cooked and cracked corn.
Yeah. So
that stuff was practically raw when you ate it.
This mining camp, it had huts? Huh? Did it have houses? This mining camp
have what?
Did it have any dwellings? Any buildings?
Like mine. They look like mines. You know. I guess they look like quarters for people that worked in the mines, whatever.
Buildings, yeah.
Yeah. There was about maybe 10 or 15 guys in each room, in each bungalow, big as the washroom. Your washrooms here at the hotel are almost bigger than the rooms we were in.
Wow.
And they crowd in maybe 10, 12 guys in each room.
It's almost like a little shed.
Yeah, that's all it was. And then try to sleep in one of them with 24 feet each other, and everybody's doing this, crossing their leg or going over the other guy's leg all night long.
Like sardines.
Yeah, it's so crowded, Put your feet, get tired underneath, you drag your feet out and try to put it up on top, and it lasts about a half a minute, and somebody else is doing that. You kept putting your feet over everybody just about.
So you sat and slept right next to the next guy.
And then one night I was sleeping good, and the guy crossing me wasn't kicking me all night. Next morning, he was dead. Because I slept good after that. For a few hours, I slept
It
good.
was a moving.
And then I was sleeping comfortable. Then come to find out he was dead. We buried him the next morning. He's the one that died he died at the mines. And we buried a lot of guys there at the mines, up on top of the hill.
Everything was frozen,
So,
right? Wasn't it?
huh?
Everything was frozen. You couldn't
Yeah, everything
bury
was
anybody.
frozen.
You just
try to bury him in frozen ground, and they give you picks that were blunt, little picks like that, and the blunt.
so
Try to break the ground, frozen ground, 3 feet thick, frozen ground. Try to break that with a pick,
so would you just
and
leave
try to bury him.
you just leave the bodies on top of the
And put with a little dirt you can dig out of the hole. And you lay the bodies in there. Nobody had no blankets or cover their faces, and we just buried them up on the hill, on the farmland. And I guess there was farms up there for the Koreans, North Koreans, and that's where we buried these guys. That we used to have. Oh hell! If there were 10 or 12, 14, 15 burials every day, guys that were dying off
15 a day.
at least, and they had burial details going out about almost every hour. They had across the river,
It was frozen. It was frozen.
frozen river.
What, Yellow River or what river?
I was the inside the what would you call say off of the Yellow River? What do you call it?
Bay or reservoir?
Bays and reservoirs, yeah. You had to cross the done. They were frozen, and up a hill, carry the bodies, and try to dig a hole and bury them in frozen ground. So that's where we left a lot of guys up there. We lost a lot of guys there at the mining camp. They died there. Then when we got to permanent camp, they were dying off there.
What permanent camp?
Well, we got I guess 3 and 5.
Camp 3 and 5?
Yeah.
You went to Camp 3 first?
Three was short, but I can't remember too much about 3.
And then you
We
went
weren't
to
there
camp,
long.
then,
That I could remember.
then to Camp 5.
And then 5, I think, was the permanent camp, is where we held out for the rest of almost the rest of the term of our pre-OW experience.
Till the end of the war, right?
Just about, yeah. And when the truce came by, then they started their peace talks. I guess back in 51 the peace talks started.
Yeah.
52. And then we lost a lot of guys at the beginning, buried up hell. In the summertime, you could smell the Koreans burning the bodies, that we buried up on the hills. They must have dug them out, and
They were burning the bodies?
I think they burned. You could smell the bodies
What
burning.
were they doing that for?
Get rid of the bodies in their land. And then the rest was they started teaching us capitalism, telling us all about our rich guys in our country. That's what they was. The Chinese were trying to push all that out of the capitalists
They were trying
taking
to,
over
they were
America.
trying to
Right.
get you out of capitalism.
Yeah. I never even heard of the word to begin with. When they try to teach us, they try to teach it every day,
They were, they
School.
were brainwashing you.
Yeah, that's the word, brainwashing.
They were brainwashing you that capitalism was no good.
It was no good, right. That was their philosophy, I guess. And every time you doze off during the speech, they keep us in a circle, and we had a teacher trying to talk in broken English about the capitalism. They knew more about us than what we knew about them. I never even heard of the word capitalism at that time.
So they're trying to push on socialism and communism.
Yeah, they started to throw that at us, and how bad our guys were, all our millionaires were, and all that. And that's about how it went until we
Every
got
day they
turned
did
loose.
this. Every day they did this.
This was every day, and if you doze off, he wake you up. Hey, hey, with a bayonet.
Oh,
No sleep, no sleep, no sleep, no sleep. Talk broken English, teaching us in broken English. We had a teacher named Chu. His name was Chu. He was a little guy, little skinny guy, young kid. But we used to call him Chu.
CHU.
Yeah, something like that.
Right.
And he was our teacher.
So every day they do it.
Oh, it's
they get
every
you,
day.
They get you outside with a microphone or
Well,
something.
No, that was when the company commander wanted to give us a speech. Then we had to sing their song Dong Pang Hong or something like that for Mao Zedong. That was the commander then. Or Mao Zedong was their leader in China. Mao Zedong, you must have heard of him.
Yeah, and they also had to sing.
Anyway, they used to they taught us a song of Mao Zedong. I used to know it, but I didn't. They kept pushing that song at us.
About Mayo, right?
Yeah, it kept until we all knew it. Or they keep us out there until we did learn the words, Mao Zedong. And I used to know it, but now every day that was like that for hours. And then we had our classes. They teach us their classes and all that.
What'd they teach you? The communism.
About capitalism.
Yeah.
That's what it was
And
all
how
about.
bad it was.
Communism.
And how bad the capitalism was.
Right.
How many prisoners were in your camp, Camp 5?
Oh, we were a big camp then.
100,
Towards the end.
200, 300?
Yeah, at least 300 in that Camp 5. The majority of the guys were out of Camp 5. That's here.
Yep.
The majority of all the guys were out of Camp 5. Some of these guys were in different camps, but the majority of these guys were in Camp 5 too.
So,
at the end.
You tried to sleep next to everybody every night, right?
Yeah, when they got us,
Crowded?
we all had half the size of this room. 20 people in one room. In my squad, I had 2, 4, 6. I had about 10 guys in my squad.
And they all had to sleep in these little sheds.
And yeah, one of the guys, the woman we were just talking, coming up, her husband was in my squad. And he died a year or 2 years ago. And
so you slept. You slept as much as you could.
Yeah,
What time did they wake you up in the morning? Did they wake you up in the morning?
Yeah, they got us out for call. You know, like the Army did call you up for morning count.
About what time? Got up at 6 o'clock?
Oh shit, about 7 o'clock.
Now,
And then we just hanged around.
now, when they came and
The
wake you
camp.
up, did they ask if anybody was dead or alive?
Yeah, they checked for people that were dead. We got them to the hospital, and then we didn't see them after that. If you went to the hospital, you were through.
Oh, really?
I think so. What hospital that they had? They had a homemade hospital, Chinese doctors, and if you were sick, they give you a pill. I mean, if you went to report it to sick call, they give you a pill. They almost all of them talk broken English, so it was still hard to understand them.
Were they sympathetic to you, or they didn't care? These Chinese doctors.
I would say both ways. It depends.
Yeah.
I guess how they felt or whatever. I mean, we never got bad. They give us pills was their only deal. Here,
Right.
take pills, and that's it. You know. So if you made it after that, you hanged in there. If you didn't eat, you would have died. You would have died.
Did the
If
gu-
you didn't eat what they give you, you would have died.
Did the
Pretty
guards?
sure.
Did the guards treat you okay?
Huh?
Did the guards treat you okay?
Guards. Well, the guards were guards, and that was it. One time they caught me stealing wood off of one of the cabinets, and they had me on a hill with a guard about an hour and a half in cold weather at attention, and supposedly one of the guys hit me in the back of the neck.
That you what kind of wood did you steal? Where's the wood?
They used a rifle.
No, what
Oh.
wood did you steal?
Shingles that they had on the huts.
Like the beams?
Wood.
The weight, the
Just
beams?
wood, yeah.
The beams?
Just took it off and used them for firewood in our squads.
And
Because the squads were only cooked with a underground oven.
so when they
and
caught you, what'd they do?
They had
Somebody
me
rat you out, or did you admit it?
They had me standing at attention for
How'd
about
they
an hour.
how'd they find out you did it?
They caught me.
They caught you stealing the
I
wood?
was on the roof and guy with the gun sticking at me and tell me to get down. And they brought me up on the hill there and standing at attention for about an hour and a half in cold weather.
You did. Somebody was telling me that you had to hold something. You didn't have to hold it. You just stood there.
Well, the piece of the wood you had, you hold the wood up like that. But they kept me at I had one guard there. he just kept the bayonet on my ass and kept me to stand at attention
How long?
for about an hour, hour and a half. And I was playing the part that I was going to paint, so I can so he turned me loose. I was sort of swaying, getting ready to drop, you know, and so let the guys look with sympathy on me, you know, and let me go. And then I went back to the squad. I said I got caught and got warmed up, and that was that. Then went on my business, and then every day we went on a wood detail,
Wood detail. What's that?
going out to the woods and get wood,
They can chop trees down.
dead wood,
The
and bring it
dead
back
branches?
to squads. Yeah,
Dead branches. You didn't chop any trees down.
yeah.
You chop trees down too?
Huh?
You chopped the trees down or just dead wood?
No chopping. Dead wood that was laying on the ground. We had they didn't give us no access to chop no wood down. Whatever you can find in the woods that was dead on the ground, we picked that branches, whatever, that's burnable.
And you burned it in
had to put them in the fire.
the huts. All of the huts had some kind of heat.
No, in our huts, where we were staying,
Yeah.
because they used to cook I think what they did is they cooked the Koreans out of these houses where they kept us, and in this camp, and I think they moved the people out of there, and that's where we were camping for a long time, and those houses were heated by underground ovens, they call them, where like this is the floor right up here,
Right.
and this is all open underneath, and you filled up in the kitchen, and like the smokestack go underneath the house, and the smoke went out, and you burn
So the
burn
smoke
the
would
kitchen.
go underneath.
Yeah,
the-
it's sort of a
So it's like a
ingrown oven.
like a tunnel with heat going.
Yeah, underneath the house, underneath the hut. Heat from the floor, to the floor. They were all clay houses, you know, made out of clay, no bricks.
So it's like almost like a underground ductwork, right?
Yeah, you could call it that. And then where they do their cooking in the kitchen, that heat, the heat should travel underneath the house
Right.
and then come out the chimney. That kept the floor warm, partially warm.
Yeah.
And we used to go out there and get wood details.
Keep it going.
And yeah, to get the wood. And then we go to our classes all afternoon until about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We had to have classes. And that was that.
Did you mingle with anybody you knew? Did you?
Well,
mingle
just the guys
in your hut.
yeah, our own, you know, our own guys.
So you went from the mining camp to Camp 3 to Camp 5. And that's
Yeah.
where you pretty much stayed. Okay. When did you get released?
I think August 17th. I'm guessing that date.
1950.
August 1953.
How'd that happen?
The release of prisoners.
Did you say just go somewhere? They bring you somewhere?
Yeah.
What'd they do?
They took us to different camps, or not different camps, but they drove us. They took us out of our camp.
By truck?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they took us to a schoolyard. We were there for a while.
Schoolyard?
Bandit school.
School.
We were there for about a week or something like that. And they kept searching us and just hanging on. And they started treating us real good after that, because I think the armistice was already signed.
Yeah.
And we were getting turned loose.
You get any better food?
And they were taking us back south.
Did you get any better food at the school?
And they give us some decent food for a couple of days we were at the school. And they were treating us, they were weighing on us. They were acting as servants.
Oh.
We got anything we wanted when they were bringing us back south. This was in the exchange of prisoners. And they started treating us, feeding us. They showed us a Chinese show before we left. The Chinese came in there and they gave us a little recreation out there in the field. And I think they passed out some cigarettes. We all had some cigarettes then. And they passed the show out, and then we were there for a couple of days at the school grounds. Then they put us. I don't recall going on a train.
No train.
I don't recall going on a train south, but we went all the way to Paintball, and That's where they turned loose. And the guys in the truck threw away a lot of their uniforms that the Chinese give us, threw them out of the truck.
The blue,
So a lot of the
blue
guys got off in
uniforms.
their shorts.
The blue uniforms.
The blue uniforms. And,
What did they give you? Other things to wear?
well, they give us winter clothes, you know, winter quilts like they wear now. Yeah, you must have seen their soldiers in winter
Coats.
suit coats. Yeah.
So you threw the blue POW clothes.
The blue uniform I threw away. That was one of the guys. Got off in their shorts, and everybody, just about all the guys in the truck, threw their stuff out the back of the truck.
And you were given. With
And
the
then we
clothes.
got our lines, and we went to the works there
And
in
you
Pemmican. When the peace talks were signed,
right.
they give us new uniforms, and then I think we come back. It took us 9 days to get back on ship.
Where did you
I
land?
landed in California.
San Francisco.
Yeah. And then when I seen all our people on the dock, all the American girls, they looked so pretty. Seeing Chinese for 3 years, 33 months, and then seeing all the bright colors and all the young girls here, the babies and all that. That was a good sight. Seeing all them.
Did anybody come and meet you?
Yeah, I had my brother and my older brother, which just died a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, and my aunt and uncle.
Did you get any honors or medals or awards or anything?
Well, this regular Korean medals.
Korean medal.
United Nation, got one from them. Korean POW medal.
What do you think was the most memorable part of your war experience? If you thing that stands out, anything. You
I
know.
think the mine when I was in the mining camp, that was my scariest part. Thought they were going to shoot us. That was my scariest part. Thought they were going to take us with black, no light, no nothing, pure black. And
This is in those caves.
thought they
In
were
those
gonna-
caves.
Yeah, by the caves. Thought they were going to blow us up, and that was my scariest part there when we were in the caves. Figured we'd never get out of them.
How did your Korean War experience impact you from then on? Did it impact you at all? You have like any bad dreams or anything?
Look, I think about it a lot. And then the other guys I buried, and I buried about maybe 10 or 15 guys in frozen ground. That was a scary part too. You know, I said if I'm gonna die, I'll be just with these guys, you know. But somehow I managed it, and I ate. I think that's what I ate. I ate whatever they give me. I think that's what it was. Even though I did get diarrhea, but I think that's partly saved me. Even the cracked corn. Yeah, I know it wasn't good for me, but
You had to keep something in you.
keep something going in you. It's all they kept us going on. And barley.
Yeah.
All these kids are dying, and all these civilians are dying. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what they're fighting for. I mean, if we're going to have another war, who the hell are we going to fight?
But you know what you were fighting for in Korea, right?
Yeah, I was fighting for Korea. Who are we going to fight now for another big enemy?
Thank you very much. And we appreciate your time. This will
Okay.
be on there forever. So kids
All
will
right.
see it.
Where am I going to read this somewhere?
I'm going to send it to you, that website, probably in about a month or two.
Oh, okay.
We'll have everything on there. It just
Oh,
takes
all right.
time to put it on there and compose everything.
All
But
right.
it'll be there.
Good,
And
I'll take this then.
I want to thank you for coming.
Okay,